Hello, future fluent English speakers, and a massive welcome back to Super English Talks. I'm Sarah, and I am absolutely delighted to be spending this time with you today as we embark on a truly transformative session for your English listening. Prowess. If you're an ambitious learner at the C1 advanced level, consistently striving to elevate your comprehension, dramatically expand your vocabulary, and achieve that coveted fluency that allows you to navigate any conversation with confidence, then you are in precisely the right place. Today's mission is singular yet profound. To train your ears to understand English not just adequately, but instinctively, like a native speaker. This means going beyond textbook listening and immersing ourselves in the dynamic, often unpredictable world of authentic spoken English. This hour is meticulously designed to be an invaluable asset for anyone preparing for high-stakes examinations such as IELTS, TOEFL, or the Cambridge English Advanced C exam, providing you with the nuanced skills required to excel. More broadly, however, it's about equipping you for real-life interactions, understanding fast-paced conversations, absorbing complex information from podcasts, and extracting meaning from every engaging listening exercise we discuss. We'll specifically delve into advanced vocabulary and expressions that are truly part of a native speaker's everyday lexicon. And I'll walk you through practical, actionable strategies to help your ears adapt to the natural speed and rhythm of English as it's genuinely spoken. So make sure you're comfortable, perhaps with a notepad and pen handy, and let's unlock the secrets to truly mastering advanced English listening. This is not just about hearing words, it's about perceiving the entire communicative intent. So, what does it truly mean to train your ears like a native speaker at the C1 level? It's a goal that signifies a deep level of integration with the language. At this stage, you're not just deciphering individual words, you're processing chunks of meaning, anticipating what comes next, and understanding the unspoken cues. Native speakers often employ a range of linguistic features that can be challenging for none. This includes rapid speech, which involves phenomena like elision, assimilation, and linking. For instance, did you eat yet? Often sounds like did you eat yet? Or going to frequently becomes gonna and want to morphs into wanna. These aren't just informal shortcuts. They are the natural phonetic realities of fluent English. Training your ears means getting comfortable with these compressed sounds, recognizing them instantly as words, and not letting them derail your comprehension. Furthermore, natural conversations are often replete with idiomatic expressions, phrasal verbs, and colloquialisms. These are not always logical when translated word for word, but they carry significant meaning in context. Think about phrases like to be under the weather, to be sick, or to bite the bullet, to endure a difficult situation. A native speaker processes these as single units of meaning. Your task is to develop that same intuitive understanding. Today, we're going to simulate a variety of real-life English dialogues, podcasts, and engaging listening exercises through my detailed descriptions and analytical commentary. While I won't be playing pre-recorded audio, I will vividly describe different scenarios, acting as your guide through what you would hear, how native speakers would communicate, and the specific linguistic features to focus on. This approach allows us to concentrate entirely on my advanced natural spoken English, providing a continuous, rich listening experience as I narrate, explain, and offer insights, all while modeling the very language patterns you aim to master. You'll be listening to me dissect linguistic complexities, introduce sophisticated vocabulary, and analyze the subtleties of spoken communication, effectively creating a multi-layered practice session. Let's kick things off by plunging into what you might encounter in a thought-provoking podcast segment. Imagine a show dedicated to technological innovation and its societal impact. Our hypothetical audio snippet features a dialogue between a lead software engineer, Dr. Alex Chu, and a sociologist specializing in human-computer interaction, Professor Lena Petrova. Dr. Chun is passionately describing the groundbreaking potential of quantum computing. He might say, "We're on the precipice of a computational revolution that will redefine the very fabric of our digital existence. The processing power is truly unfathomable." His speech might be rapid, filled with jargon, demonstrating an expert's fluency in their domain. Now, Professor Petrova, on the other hand, might approach the topic with a more cautious, reflective tone. She might interject, while the technical advancements are undeniably astounding, we must also grapple with the ethical ramifications and the potential for societal disruption. How do we ensure these powerful tools are used for the collective good and not merely to exacerbate existing inequalities? Notice the shift in their intonation and pacing. Dr. Chun's voice might rise with excitement, emphasizing words like revolution and unfathomable, while Professor Petrova's tone might be more level, perhaps a slight downward inflection when discussing ramifications or inequalities, conveying seriousness. As a C1 learner, your challenge here is not just to grasp the general concept of quantum computing, but to understand the nuances of their arguments, to pick up on their differing perspectives, and to extract the specific advanced vocabulary. They employ words like precipice, redefine, fabric, unfathomable, astounding, ethical ramifications, societal disruption, collective good, and exacerbate are all critical components of this kind of elevated discourse. You're training your ear to differentiate between the passion of a technologist and the thoughtful deliberation of an ethicist, all while processing a rich tapestry of advanced vocabulary within a dynamic conversational flow. Now, let's transition to a more casual yet equally challenging real-life dialogue scenario. Picture two longtime colleagues, perhaps colleagues who have become good friends, having a candid chat during a coffee break about a recent project that didn't go as planned. One, let's call him Mark, is feeling the brunt of the setback, while his friend, Sarah, is trying to offer perspective. Mark might lament, "Honestly, the whole thing just went south. We put in so much effort, and it feels like it was all for naught. I'm completely demoralized." And Sarah, in an attempt to uplift him, might say, "I know it feels like a kick in the teeth right now, but you can't let it get under your skin. We've all had projects go, you just have to dust yourself off and get back in the saddle." Here, the challenge for your ears lies heavily in the idiomatic expressions and the natural, slightly faster pace of informal conversation, when south means something went wrong or deteriorated. All for naught means all for nothing, without result. Demoralized is a stronger word than just sad. Kick in the teeth signifies a deeply disappointing or hurtful blow. Get under your skin means to annoy or bother you. Go pershipped is another way of saying something went wrong or failed badly. Dust yourself off means to recover from a setback, and get back in the saddle means to return to normal activities after an interruption. For AC1 learner, being able to process these expressions immediately without pausing to translate is a hallmark of native-like comprehension. This is where active listening for context clues becomes crucial. Even if you don't know the idiom, the surrounding words and the speaker's tone can often help you infer its meaning. Additionally, notice the contractions and reductions. Can't let it often sounds like can't let it, with the T almost disappearing. Practicing with such conversational snippets helps attune your ear to these authentic spoken forms.
Let's begin by considering how language reflects culture. It's an incredibly profound connection. Take, for instance, the vocabulary of a language. The words that exist or don't exist in a particular lexicon often tell us a great deal about what is important to that culture. Consider the Inuit languages, which famously have numerous words for different types of snow, a concept that might be condensed into just a few terms in English. This isn't because they're inherently more complex. It's because snow is a central and vital element of their environment and survival. Their very existence is intertwined with understanding these distinctions. Okay? So, their language reflects that environmental reality and cultural priority. Conversely, in cultures where certain concepts are less prominent, their language might have fewer specific terms. This doesn't mean the concept is absent, but it highlights a different cultural emphasis. Furthermore, beyond vocabulary, consider idiomatic expressions and proverbs. These are miniature cultural capsules. They often contain wisdom, historical context, or societal values distilled into a concise phrase. For example, the English idiom to bite the bullet reflects a cultural value of stoicism and endurance in the face of hardship, possibly originating from a time when soldiers bit lead bullets to cope with pain during surgery. Understanding such an idiom requires not just linguistic knowledge, but also a degree of cultural insight. As C1 listeners, when you encounter these expressions, your challenge is to move beyond a literal interpretation and grasp the deeper cultural resonance. You're training your ear to recognize these as established cultural references rather than just a string of individual words. My goal in this podcast is to use such examples and elaborate on their cultural significance, allowing you to hear how these ideas are articulated in advanced English. Moving beyond reflection. Let's explore how language influences culture. This is often where the philosophical debate becomes quite compelling. There's a hypothesis known as linguistic relativity, or the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, which, in its stronger form, suggests that the language we speak actually determines or limits our thought processes, while the strong version is largely debated. A weaker version proposes that language influences our perception and categorization of the world. For instance, some languages explicitly distinguish between different types of love with separate words, whereas English often uses one broad, more. Does this mean speakers of those languages experience love differently, or are they simply more attuned to its various facets due to their linguistic tools? This is a fascinating question. Consider how the presence or absence of gendered nouns in a language might subtly influence perceptions of gender roles within a society. Or how languages with elaborate systems for indicating respect or hierarchy in their grammar can reinforce social structures. When we use certain linguistic structures or vocabulary, we are subtly reinforcing certain ways of thinking and behaving. And you might immediately contend, but surely our thoughts aren't completely dictated by our language. And indeed, that's a valid point. Most modern linguistic theories lean towards a more reciprocal relationship. Language influences thought, and thought also influences language. It's a dynamic, ongoing interplay. However, the influence is undeniably there. For advanced English listeners, the challenge here is to follow these nuanced, often abstract, arguments. I'll be using precise academic vocabulary, complex sentence structures, and rhetorical devices to present these ideas. Your task is to track the argument, identify the main claim, understand the supporting evidence even if it's hypothetical, and grasp the opposing viewpoints that are being considered. This is the essence of C1 listening, dissecting complex trains of thought. Expressed in sophisticated English, asterisk, and then we come to the crucial role of language in preserving culture. This is perhaps one of its most profound and often overlooked powers. Language is the primary vessel through which oral traditions, stories, myths, historical accounts, and ancestral knowledge are passed down through generations. When a language is lost, an entire worldview, a unique way of understanding and interacting with the world, is also lost. It's a significant cultural erosion. Think of indigenous languages around the world, many of which are critically endangered. These languages often contain unique ecological knowledge, traditional medicinal practices, and philosophical concepts that are inextricably linked to their specific environment and cultural heritage. The words themselves might describe specific plants, animals, or natural phenomena in a way that no other language can. The very act of speaking and teaching a native language to the next generation is a powerful act of cultural preservation. It ensures that the unique narratives, songs, and ceremonies of a people continue to live on. Furthermore, language preserves identity, right? For diaspora communities, retaining their ancestral language often serves as a vital link to their heritage, their roots, and their sense of belonging. It allows them to access original texts, to understand cultural references firsthand, and to communicate with elders in their native tongue. This connection is not merely sentimental. It's fundamental to cultural continuity. As listeners, when I discuss the nuances of cultural preservation, pay attention to the emotional register in my voice. The weight I give to certain words like endangered, erosion, or vital link. These vocal cues, combined with the academic vocabulary, help convey the gravity and significance of the topic. Your challenge is to process this blend of factual information, abstract concepts, and underlying emotional resonance, demonstrating a holistic comprehension of the speaker's message, to make this more concrete. Let's consider some real-life English dialogues and scenarios that highlight these principles. Imagine an anthropologist giving a guest lecture to a group of university students. The topic is the unique kinship terms in a remote Amazonian tribe. The anthropologist might explain, unlike English, where we have a relatively simple system of aunt or uncle, this particular language boasts a highly elaborate system, distinguishing between maternal and paternal aunts and uncles, older and younger siblings of parents, and even the relative age of cousins, all embedded within their very vocabulary. This nuance is not arbitrary. It underpins their social structure and their intricate web of familial responsibilities. As listeners, you'd be hearing not just factual information, but the enthusiasm and academic rigor of the speaker. You'd focus on vocabulary like kinship, terms, elaborate system, nuance, underpins, and intricate web. You'd also pay attention to how the speaker uses comparative structures to highlight the differences between the tribal language and English, which is a common feature of academic discourse. Or, let's imagine a segment from a cultural podcast where two hosts are discussing the phenomenon of untranslatable words. Words that exist in one language but have no direct equivalent in another, often because they encapsulate a unique cultural concept. One host might say, "You know." The German word Schadenfreude, that feeling of pleasure derived from another person's misfortune, it's a perfect illustration. We have to expound upon it in English. There's no single word that encapsulates that complex emotion. That single word in German speaks volumes about a particular cultural perspective on human psychology. The other host might chime in, "Absolutely." Or the Japanese concept of ikigai, finding your reason for being. The intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. It's more than just purpose. It's a profound cultural philosophy, wrapped up in one term. Here, you're listening for the host's conversational style, their use of discourse markers like "you know," "absolutely," and how they collaboratively build an argument. You're also learning specific untranslatable words and how native speakers discuss the very concept of untranslatability. Using terms like expound upon, encapsulates, and profound cultural philosophy. This kind of authentic, slightly informal, but intellectually rich conversation is paramount for C1 listening practice. **.
So, how do we actively engage in listening exercises to achieve that native-like ear? It's about moving beyond passive reception to active processing. One exceptionally powerful technique is what's known as intensive listening. This involves selecting a short audio segment, perhaps 1 to 2 minutes long, and listening to it repeatedly with a specific focus each time. The first listen, just try to get the gist, the main idea. The second listen, Focus on identifying new vocabulary and expressions. Jot them down, even if you can't spell them perfectly. The third listen, concentrate on connected speech, reductions, and intonation. How do words link? Which syllables are stressed? The fourth listen. Try to transcribe the entire segment word for word. This is an incredibly challenging but profoundly rewarding exercise that forces your ear to pick up every sound. Compare your transcription to an actual script if available. You'll uncover amazing insights into your listening blind spots. Another highly effective strategy is predictive listening. Before you listen to a podcast episode or an interview, read the title or a brief description and try to predict what vocabulary, themes, or arguments might come up. This activates your existing knowledge and prepares your brain for the incoming information. As you listen, actively confirm or adjust your predictions. This engages your critical thinking skills and trains you to anticipate conversational flow, a key aspect of native comprehension. Furthermore, don't shy away from listening to content at a slightly faster speed once you're comfortable with the normal pace. Many podcast apps and YouTube have speed controls. Gradually increasing the playback speed trains your brain to process information more quickly and efficiently, mimicking the demands of fast, natural conversations. However, use this judiciously. The goal is comprehension, not just speed. Begin with a 1.25x speed, and if you can still comprehend, slowly move up. Asterisk, let's delve deeper into acquiring advanced vocabulary and those elusive expressions that characterize native speech. At the C1 level, it's not simply about knowing the definition of a word, but understanding its connotation, its common, and the contexts in which it's used. For instance, consider the idea of improvement. A native speaker might use a range of words depending on the specific nuance. Ameliorate, to make something better. Often used in formal or abstract contexts, enhance to improve the quality or value of something. Refine, to improve by making small changes, or bolster, to support or strengthen. Training your ears means recognizing these distinctions when you hear them. When someone says, "We need to ameliorate the working conditions," your ear should register the formal, perhaps slightly detached, nature of the improvement being discussed. Or if someone says this software will bolster our cybersecurity, you understand it's about strengthening an existing system. Similarly, mastering phrasal verbs is absolutely paramount. They are incredibly common in spoken English and often have meanings that are not immediately obvious from their individual parts. Think of to call off, to cancel, to put off, to postpone, to come across, to find by chance, or to break down, to stop working, or to become emotionally distressed. When you hear the meeting was called off, your ear needs to register that as canceled without hesitation. The best way to internalize these is through extensive listening and contextual learning. Pay attention to how native speakers use them in natural conversation. When you encounter a new phrasal verb, don't just look up its definition. Try to find examples of its use in sentences. You can use online dictionaries that provide example sentences, or even search for clips on YouTube where the phrase is used. The more you see and hear them in authentic contexts, the more naturally you'll begin to understand and even use them. This is how native speakers absorb language, not through rote memorization, but through meaningful exposure, Asterisk, one of the biggest hurdles in training your ears like a native at the C1 level is overcoming the urge to translate every word in your head. This process significantly slows down your comprehension and prevents you from keeping up with natural speech. Native speakers don't translate. They understand directly, instinctively. Your goal is to build that direct connection between the English sounds and their meaning. This requires a shift from word-by-word decoding to chunk-by-chunk processing. You're trying to grasp ideas, phrases, and entire clauses as single units of meaning. Imagine listening to a complex lecture or a fast-paced news report. If you're mentally translating, you'll inevitably fall behind. Instead, aimed to develop your ability to infer from context, even if you encounter an unfamiliar word or idiom, try to understand its meaning based on the surrounding words, the speaker's tone, and the overall topic. This skill is critical because in real life, you won't always have a dictionary or a transcript. It's about building resilience and adaptability in your listening. Furthermore, a native ear is accustomed to various accents, while many learners focus on a standard accent. The global reality of English means you'll encounter a vast array of pronunciations, consciously exposing yourself to different regional accents, be it Australian, Irish, Scottish, or even various no-native accents, speaking English fluently, will significantly broaden your auditory flexibility. Don't let an unfamiliar accent be a barrier to comprehension. Start by watching interviews or documentaries with speakers from diverse backgrounds. At first, it might be challenging, but with consistent exposure, your ear will gradually adjust, becoming more adept at recognizing different phonetic patterns. This broad exposure is paramount for true C1 level listening proficiency and for preparing you for the richness of global English communication. Asterisk. So, how do we integrate this training your ears like a native into your daily routine in a way that feels sustainable and enjoyable? It's about finding opportunities for immersion everywhere beyond dedicated listening exercises. Think about passive and active exposure throughout your day. For instance, when you're commuting, instead of music, put on an English podcast on a topic you love. Even if you're not actively dissecting every word, the continuous exposure familiarizes your ear with the rhythm and cadence of the language. When you're doing chores around the house, play an English radio station or an audiobook. The background noise of authentic English slowly but surely improves your passive comprehension. For active engagement, consider joining online discussion. Groups or language exchange partners having real-time conversations, even if you're primarily listening, forces you to process information quickly and respond appropriately. You'll get immediate feedback on your comprehension. And it's a fantastic way to experience the spontaneity of natural dialogue. Another powerful tool is using English for your hobbies. If you enjoy cooking, watch cooking shows in English. If you love gaming, play games with English voice acting or commentary. If you're into fitness, follow English-speaking fitness instructors. The more you connect your English learning with your passions, the less it feels like a chore and the more it becomes an integral part of your life. This natural integration is how true native-like fluency is cultivated. It's about creating an environment where English is not just studied, but live. And finally, don't underestimate the power of simply observing. Listen to how people interact in English movies and TV shows. Pay attention to their reactions, their body language, and how their speech aligns with their nonverbal cues. This holistic approach to listening will provide you with a much richer understanding of authentic communication. The journey to C1 advanced English listening. To truly training your ears like a native is one of continuous growth, rewarding challenges, and ultimately profound personal and professional enrichment. It involves a shift in mindset from merely hearing to actively processing, from translating to intuitively understanding. By consistently exposing yourself to authentic English, by engaging with real-life dialogues and podcasts, by consciously practicing techniques like shadowing and transcription, and by eagerly absorbing advanced vocabulary and expressions in context, you are building an incredibly robust foundation for true fluency. Remember, every time you push through a challenging listening piece, every time you grasp a new idiom, you are wiring your brain to become more proficient and more confident in English. This dedication isn't just about achieving a certificate. It's about unlocking a world of global communication, richer experiences, and deeper connections. I have immense faith in your ability to achieve these lofty goals. Your commitment to watching and engaging with sessions like this is a testament to your drive. Keep that momentum, remain curious, and embrace every listening opportunity as a chance to grow. Thank you so much for joining me today on Super English Talks. I genuinely hope this C1 Advanced English Listening practice session has provided you with valuable insights and practical strategies for training your ears like a native speaker. If you found this video helpful and inspiring, please show your support by giving it a thumbs up, sharing it with your fellow English learners, and most importantly, subscribing to Super English Talks for a wealth of advanced English content. I'm always eager to connect with you, so please leave your questions, thoughts, or suggestions in the comments section below. What listening challenges do you face? What topics would you like me to tackle next? Your input helps me shape future videos to best serve your learning journey. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep speaking English with unwavering confidence. See you soon.